show of puzzles. Wire puzzle, jigsaw puzzle, teasing puzzles, mechanical puzzle. It's a mind bender kind of a thing. Just puzzles, puzzles, puzzles and puzzles to puzzle your mind. Looks cool. Classic concept. It's a lovely, amazing craft. And people just love it. I mean, that's a cool thing. You can gift it to someone. Follow your imagination to be more creative. That's gonna open the eye of your mind. What you call the insight. And that's the idea. I'll show you how. Are you ready? Welcome to the show. So, looking for puzzles for classroom activity? Well, it's a wonderful idea. But, of course, the consideration should be on the group of students, I mean their age. And let me say that this video is dedicated to the passionate teachers, educators and the tutors who are so involved with the students and that they want to try the different aspects of the learning, and that's why they introduce different thing in the classroom, and that's just wonderful. I mean, even I in my time when I was lecturing, I was going in my classroom with the new things and boggling the students' mind and just telling them, hey, this is a real science. So let me now suggest you the puzzles that you can actually start with the students. I mean, a very general types of puzzle that's not very specific with those complex parts or too much mechanical into it. So I think I should start off with something like this. This box has the tangram. I mean, if you are a kind of a teacher, who likes mathematical problems, then and I know the tangram is just one of the favorite puzzle of all time. It has 7 pieces. But the reason why I'm recommending this puzzle for the classroom, because what happens a lot of time in classroom that if a puzzle is very complex, it have many parts like this thing. So it will obviously be a matter of taking care of different parts, and it will just be lost. But whereas in tangram you just have 7 pieces, and they make a very good example of the geometrical shapes. Like this is a square. I mean, if you're starting with the students of basic level geometry, you're starting with them if you wanted to introduce them, right? So this is a wonderful example. Now like this shape is, you can encourage them by asking this question. This shape is actually not a diamond, it is a parallelogram. So this is how you can just sort of ask them the question before you introduce these puzzles to the classroom. You can take these pieces and just create a little interest among the students. So this is the tangram, and of course it comes with the booklet that you can the shapes are even pretty simple, that you can draw on the blackboard, or you can have a overhead projector kind of thing where you can project the image somewhere if you have a seminar hall or something. So this is a very interesting and a wonderful puzzle that you can start with, tangram. And one more thing is that, like, it happened with me, a lot of time, starting such activity involves that approval system, going to the HODs and the principals that you want spare time or the extra session for the students, and sometimes what happens is that it didn't turn up. But what I suggest, you don't be disheartened. I mean, there are other ways, where you can just in a very friendly and a very comfortable manner, you can have things going. Like what I used to do, that I used to take. Obviously, if the school is not in the mood to purchase puzzles, what I personally did was I took my personal collection into the classroom and introduced the student and just tell them that, okay, if you like the puzzle, but you will have to kind of cooperate with me because the puzzle is limited. So I put these puzzles in in the library. I said the puzzles are available in the library, and you can go and kind of have a batch wise, group wise, you can enjoy the puzzle. And if you promise me to cooperate and be systematic, then we can have it. And this was a very good thing with the students. Said yes, we want to go with the puzzle, and okay, we will follow the instructions and all that. So what I did, and even then my HOD was happy with me, because I find a middle way out. So this is, what I felt like saying, that this is a good suggestion. So don't be disheartened. If you're a kind of a teacher who are looking for something new activity, just go ahead. It's just a wonderful idea. This is why the generation is looking for good teachers. So don't be disheartened. I mean, just take aside the approval system. Don't be disheartened. There are a lot of personal ways, personal input that you can put in the classroom. So tangram, I was telling you about that. Another puzzle that you can have, these kinds of cubes. I just take it aside. Yeah, I hope you can see. This is a kind of wooden cube, and the best thing about these puzzles, I mean, even the stand up, they are in wood. So wood is something very natural. Many times it can encourage a student to the art and craft aspect of these puzzles. They say, wow, sir, how these puzzles are made? Are they really handmade? I mean, can I try something to make puzzle on my own with some other material? Let's say cardboard or clay or something like that. I mean, tangram, you can actually encourage a student to cut out these pieces of tangrams, which are also called tans. So you can just encourage them to have a kind of a thick cardboard or a ply that they can cut these pieces, and they can get into the creative aspect of these things. So that is it. So that's why, I mean, if something in wood, I mean, the student just love it. So and by the way, this is an interlocking cube, Jigyasa interlocking cube that we have, and the idea is to obviously, if it is a puzzle, it has to be packed back. So the idea is to make that cube once again. And while you are suggesting these puzzles, you can just tell them about the educational value. I mean, the scientific kind of attitude that they can have with that, because when they have a hard time solving these puzzles, I mean, you can just recommend them, or you can just inspire them to have their patience, have faith in themselves, and go with the logic. I mean, a lot of time kids are discouraged, or they just don't like the idea of something that they're getting stuck every time. So they just leave the pieces and they just go by and start playing around and said, I don't want to do it anymore because this is kind of a kind of a perplexing thing that's just rattling my mind. So you can then have another session where you can just make them understand that there's a logical way of solving a puzzle, and that's what the purpose of the puzzle is. I mean, if you're a kind of a teacher who is who's inspiring, especially teaching mathematics or a subject like physics, you can just inspire them that this is how you approach a problem. It's always there. It's always there. If you wanted to solve a problem, let's say could be a scientific problem or these kind of puzzling things, you have to go through a logical way of it. I mean, like if this is a cube, it has to have a equal side, x, y, or z. So I mean, this is how you know it well, because so this is how you can encourage and get the students involved into a different aspect of learning, because I mean, it's just what is 3-dimension, this is a 2-dimension kind of a thing. So you can get into a kind of something more fun kind of a thing, that where you can take them into a world of geometry and kind of mechanism with these puzzles. So this is just a good idea. So what I can suggest you can start with tangram. If you have students of let's say under high school or high school or student, this thing, and if you have students who are more into let's say engineering students, they are more into technical things, you can just have these this lovely crystal like shape. We call it Jigyasa crystal puzzle. It has 9 pieces. I mean, this is that because it requires a kind of a keen observation to just to grab the just to get a hold on the shape. And then because if a person is not able to observe or hold the structure, he won't be able to make the puzzle. So this is a kind of a bit advanced thing that you can take them ahead with these kind of puzzle. And and yeah, there's one more very interesting thing, Tower of Hanoi or Tower of Brahma, whatever you call it. This puzzle is, of course, if you are into computer programming or kind of a strategic game, this is that kind of thing where you have to make recursive movement to shift these disks to one of these towers, and this is really fun. I mean, this is something that will really charm students. I mean, even if they are at at the level of graduate level, because this is it's, I mean, I'll just show you. You have to shift these disks one by one, and you're not supposed to place a larger disk like this on a smaller disk. So then what actually happens is that it starts getting into the strategic movement, because you have to think in advance to free a tower, so that the larger disk can come in, and then it can just have that kind of that kind of the order of the tower on the other tower. So that is kind of another thing that you can introduce them. And the best part is that, puzzles have a teasing nature. So sometimes what happens is that, the students, they think that they're smart. They're always, cross questioning with the teachers and trying to be very smart. You can say, hey, you wanna try your mind? You think you're cool or smart? Try on this puzzle. And this is where, what happens, your marks percentile has no place. The students who are not, sometimes it is observed that those who students are not very good at their studies, not in their examination, doing well with the puzzles, and even they themselves get surprised, wow, I did it. So this could be a very good encouragement for the students, let's say backbenchers, those who are always, kind of a student get yelling and complains during the parents teacher meeting. This student doesn't do anything, the homework is not complete, this boy is not is not good at the studies or making marks, but they could be very good at solving puzzles. So this is a good idea. And of course, puzzles are too many. There's an entire world of the puzzles, and I have my separate videos about each puzzles. If you are more into interested into puzzles and wanted to get into the details of each and every puzzle that I have, you can actually search and find the introductions of the puzzles and their solution as well. And hope you have a good time, have a good session in the classroom, and best of luck for your students too.